to the Leading Sheep webinar series on nutritional management of spring lambing merinos to ram more lambs, featuring Dr John Milton from Independent Lab Services in Western Australia.
The next point I want to emphasise is scanning. Scanning to me is nearly a no-brainer. You just do it. And not just scan for zero. Nice. It's unfortunate to know you've got those dries, but sometimes we can turn that into a positive because at least you know what you've got. So if you scan for dries, singles and twins, or 2+ in those older parity ewes, because we know some of those, if they've had a good season at mating, at joining, if the conditions have been good and they've been in good order, then some of them on their third or fourth lambs will have triplets. They will need to be managed accordingly, but certainly twins are more the norm for those ewes. So why do we want to scan? Well, there's many reasons to scan, and the first is so that the feed resources aren't wasted on dries. If you're facing a tough season and you've come through a tough season at joining, you've probably got a lot of dries. Because if the ewes, particularly if the season didn't start well and the ewes were losing condition during joining, you're probably going to have a lot of dries and you won't have many twins. So you want to be able to use that knowledge as a tool for the management of those sheep, whether you run those dries as wethers and just get their wool cut is the option. That's the beauty of the merino, is that she does produce wool as well as lambs, as well as meat, and certainly we can get money for that wool. So manage it, and you can even manage the micron a little bit, running them as wethers. The second point here is that the ewes with singles and twins need to be managed differentially. We manage them so the feed can meet the need. We have to have the feed meeting the need, and this is critical for the twinners, especially in late pregnancy and lactation. You could even scan the twinners into cycles 1 and 2 for paddock management and feeding at lambing, especially if you're using those using lick feeders as a tool, as a labour-saving tool, and avoid having to disrupt the ewes at lambing. Lick feeders have a valuable role there, but often you don't have enough because you need to lamb those twinners in small paddocks and in small mobs, because you don't want large mobs of them on top of each other at the lick feeder at the point of lambing, because you'll end up with a lot of lamb stealing and mismothering, and unfortunately a lot of dead lambs can happen. So that management is absolutely critical, and so having those paddocks lined up or having the ewes lined up according to their time of lambing, knowing their cycles. It does take a bit of experience to scan them into cycles. So basically I get my guys to call big and small fetuses amongst the twins, and that's how I age them. Okay, so it's just on size. Once they've got a perception of how their overall size is, and they got okay. So an important point that is often overlooked, and it's pretty logical. Ewes with twins need to have 2 good teats if they're going to rear the twins. So it's a bit hard with well, you can't do it the way they scan. The old way of scanning, when we pull them out on the board, is a lot different, and the 2 teats were facing us, or the udder was facing us, so we could soon identify if a ewe didn't have 2 teats, if you're quick enough, if you had a good scanner. But now with along the race scanning underneath, it's a little bit more difficult. So it's a special job, but if you know they're twinners, then if they've haven't got 2 teats, or if they've got bottle teats, as you know, those older ewes can have bottle teats, and they'll lose their lambs. The lambs can't get their mouths around the teats. What scanning does, ladies and gentlemen, it informs you what you've got to manage, what your sheep have on board that you have to manage, and then you can plan to manage them. My view is that failing to plan is planning to fail when it comes to management of livestock.